Hi everyone, Nick here, and today we're having a look back at another F1 2020 league race. And as you can see, this is the Austrian Grand Prix at the Red Bull Ring. And one of the other things you'll notice as well is that well-timed look back at the rear wing there, I'm in the Haas for the first time this season. So we've had plenty of races in the Williams and a little brief stint in the AlphaTauri, and now we're going to be driving a bit of Haas, a bit of Alfa Romeo, and another little bit of Williams between now and the end of the season. So that should keep us on our toes and give us a nice bit of variety. Fortunately, all of those cars are a bit crap, but hey ho, we'll see how it goes. I was hoping the Haas was going to be better than it actually is, but I found it really, really bad around Austria. It just didn't really have any speed whatsoever. Blame the Ferrari engine, I guess. And I had to run lower wings than I normally would have just to keep up down the straights, and then as a result I had no grip in the corners, so yeah, not a great combination, but we'll see what we can do. Always got a chance if we can have a nice solid clean race. I literally never pick anything but balanced, so I'm going to go softer. Hit select, guaranteed wet qualifying now.
Well, I think because you can carry your.
Of course it's full wet. Of course it is.
Why
don't I even bother?
Let's go.
So there we go. Bring a load of extra soft tyres for qualifying, and then qualifying is wet. GG Nick. GG Nick. But yes, as it's qualifying, it was very wet, but it was still apparently intermediate conditions. So the plan for the first stint, at least, was to just go out on track and just do a load of laps, really. Just sort of dial in on the track. It was scheduled to get slightly drier as the session went on. So we were just going to lap over and over, just get a feel for the track, work out where the braking points were, work out where the gear shifts were, that kind of thing. Where can we push on the accelerator? Where do we need to be careful? And just using the first half of the session really as a way to just zone in on what we needed to do. And we were doing okay, generally making up a bit of time, but by the time I got to my fourth lap, I'd not really made any time, so I came into the pits. So, fresh set of inters onto the car, and we're going to go for another lap. And this ended up being my fastest lap of the session. So you've got to be really careful through turn 1. Not necessarily through the entrance, but through the apex and the exit. I find it really slippery in the wet, and you want to be careful because you can easily spin. But also you want to get on the throttle early because it's a big long straight, so tricky. This corner is not too tricky, again, turning in, but here it's just so slippery on the exit. You're in second gear and the wheel spin. I mean, you can see there I've got a mad wheel spin in fifth gear. So, yeah, again, have to be really careful here. Get a bit of, it feels really understeery. You have to use second gear to try and get through it. And then these double lefts after here are a lot tougher than they are in the dry. This one I've just got nowhere near the apex. I've got a bit too greedy, braked a little bit too late, and then cost myself some time. Here's not too bad. You don't want to run too wide as it again gets a bit slippery and there's track limits there, so you have to be careful. 2 corners left. We're still down on our previous time, so it's not ideal. So we're going to lob it into the penultimate corner, and we've made up a bit of time. Get away with the track limits on the exit there. Get the car turned in, knock a couple of tenths off, and we do a 1:15.012. And we still had plenty of time to do another lap because we had this run and then some other intermediates, but unfortunately it didn't really go to plan. As you can see on this lap, we've got a much better turn in on that corner, and we've pretty much got ourselves to level, but through here we get a bit too greedy, and as you can see we lose the back end and we're in the gravel trap, which is not the optimal line, and we're just going to abandon that and just go back into the pits. So we're going to have another go, see if we can get a final lap right in at the end of the session. We're going to be wary of this corner again, but this time we're going to run a little bit too wide and just go over the white line and get the lap invalidated. We were slightly up, but it wasn't really going to help us too much, and in the end we finished qualifying in 11th place, which I was disappointed with. I wasn't too far off. I mean, I'm only a second off, but it is Austria, so it's a very short track. And I don't know, maybe I should have been a few places further up the grid. Slightly disappointing, but it's what it is. But fortunately, the race was going to be dry, and we still thought that we could get some decent points here. So, get away okay off the line. Turn 1 here is always really tricky because it's a tight corner, so you want to be nice and careful. You can see a bit of bumping on the inside, and we go round the outside of Mav in the racing point. I thought at the time I was possibly going to get done for track limits on the left hand side, but I didn't. That was good. We've got Coulthard right behind us, and we don't want to let him through here because he's on medium tyres, so we're a little bit cautious there because of Hags in the Ferrari, and that's enough to let Coulthard have a bit of a run at us down to turn 4. So we're going to give him space on the inside and just say, okay, that's fine, but we're going to try and hang it on out around the outside. He doesn't push us off like Hamilton did to Albon in the real race here in 2020, and it means we've got the inside line into the next corner, and that means we have got the place held. And well, I mean, we're up to 10th place, but that's good because we've managed to stay ahead of a couple of medium tyre runners. We're on softs. We're going to do a one-stop soft medium, and we're going to try and get past the cars in front as quickly as possible, because you can see top left hand corner, Stefano is a couple of places in front of us, but he's on hard tyres. He's going to be going for a long time, so we don't want to get held up by him. And we've got 2 Ferraris in front of us who we know are going to be slow in a straight line. However, of course, we are in a Haas which is powered with the exact same engine, so it's not going to be particularly easy. We think about a move up the inside of Stefano there. I thought at the time that if that was the AI, I'd probably release the brakes and go for a cheeky send, but in a league race against actual people, I'm not going to do that, especially because the next lap we're going to have DRS enabled. So start of lap 3, Stefano is ahead of us, Hags has got through, we've got DRS, rich fuel, ERS to overtake, and that is a slam dunk overtake. So we get the car turned in nicely for turn 3. Give Stefano a sniff of an undercut though. Going to go for the cutback, and he's going to try and get alongside us going down the run to turn 4. He's going to have DRS as well, so we're going to go down to here. We're going to leave him some space on the apex. He bails out of it, and we are through and up into 9th place. 9th place was going to become 8th place fairly soon because DP had a bit of an incident with Monty and went off the track and gave us a nice EV overtake into turn 3. And from there on, the plan was to try and catch the cars in front, but I kind of decided to try and do this in a slow and steady manner. I decided I could try and cruise up to them, try and use all my fuel and all my ERS at this point, but I thought, no, actually, do you know what? I feel reasonably okay with my pace. People in front of me are battling. I'll just wait and hang back a little bit, and I'll just close up gradually. And then you can see the cars in front, they're scrapping, and it's going to get us up to them nice and quickly without us really having to try too hard. And we're going to get a place in a moment because of those cars battling ahead. So Tony goes into the back of Hags and picks up some front wing damage, which means that he's going to have to pit at the end of his lap. So when he does exactly that on the inside of the penultimate corner, really tricky to get around cars who are pitting in front of you. Very, very poor pit lane here, really. But that gets us up into 7th place. And you can see by lap 13, we've caught up with the cars in front. We're in 7th, so that's 6th, 5th, 4th and 3rd ahead. And they're going side by side in pretty much all of the corners. And they're losing time to me and the leaders hand over fist. So at this point I'm thinking, lap 13, it's early. But what if we were to pit? What if we were to go mediums to the end? So at this point I'm thinking, if none of them pit, I'm pitting. So we wait to the last possible moment. And a little bit cheeky with the track limits there, let's be honest. But we come into the pits, end of lap 13, and we're going to try and get an undercut done. And my thinking at this point was, as long as I don't come out directly behind someone else who is going to hold me up, if I can put in a couple of decent laps, those guys are going to be on old tyres, and they're going to be scrapping amongst each other, fighting, losing time, and we can get the undercut and jump them and go into a net P3, which would be impressive given we started 11th. So we come out of the pits in 15th, and we've got a couple of seconds to the cars in front, who's Tony after his pit stop and DP after his spin. So end of lap 15, and those cars have started to pit, and you can see they're all in the pits. So we are gaining places. We're up to 12th at this point. But the downside is we've now caught that train up in front, which has also now got Hom involved in it. So they're now battling and holding us up, fortunately, after we got the undercut done. And we're thinking, okay, what's going to go here? DP drifts a little bit wide there, but no damage done in the end. We just about managed to keep it on track. But we've got to try and get past these cars as early as possible. So DP goes a little bit wide out of the penultimate corner on the end of lap 16, and we go up the inside. I don't like overtaking into turn 1 because I think it's a bit tight, and I don't like the track limits on the outside. Much prefer turn 3, but we get the job done there. A little bit deep, but it's okay, and we've got a good exit from it, so we've been able to stay ahead. So end of lap 17, Hom's in front of us, hasn't got a great exit. Let's go up the inside into turn 1, but he's a little bit braver around the outside, and we're a little bit cautious, and we don't get the job done. We give him the space on the outside, and because of that we get a pretty rubbish run down to turn 3, which means we're not going to get an overtake done. We're too far back, it'd be too much of a send, and we're not going to do that at this point, given that we know that technically we're actually racing the cars behind us. So what we're going to do instead this time is say, actually, do you know what, Hom? You can stay ahead down the pit straight, and you can have turn 1. We don't actually, we use DRS, but we don't put the fuel up, and we don't use any ERS, and we're just going to concentrate on our exit through turn 1. We get a nice exit, it gets a little bit of a wobble in front of us. Now we use all of our goodies, and we get the acceleration through there, and we are ahead nice and easily. Give him a little bit of space on the outside just in case, get the car stopped, get it turned in, little bit sloppy through the corner, and it gives him a sniff again at fighting back and getting back the place into turn 4, but we get a good enough exit to not allow that. So we're now up into 10th, back into the points, and we've got a couple of Williamses in front of us. So you've seen this one before already. It's Jerome, and we're going to try and see what we can do. So we're going to leave it through turn 1 and then go for it through turn 2. But the Williams is, it's just hard to say, it's a little bit quicker in a straight line than the Ferrari powered cars. So we're going to have a little bit more difficulty here. So we're going to have to try and outbrake Jerome into turn 3, and he leaves us some space, so it's all really nice and good, but he gets a much better exit because he's not been as compromised by coming tight through the corner, and he just absolutely storms away down the straight. So rethink of how we're going to do this. Instead of saying, okay, well, let's just do it into turn 3, actually, do you know what, let's just ignore what we said earlier and smash it down into turn 1. We get a really good exit through there. I don't know if Jerome was expecting it, or maybe he's just not got the urge to fight back, but we get the job done nice and easy before turn 1, and that's the overtake made. And at this point we've only got Tony in front of us, who is in the Williams. We're going to see if Jerome can fight back. He's thinking about the move into turn 3, but does not get the job done, and we get the DRS from Tony in front of us, so we're able to pull away nicely. Tony then pits again, so that's the second time we've been able to overtake him by him pitting, so that's nice. Makes it very easy for us. And we've got Wiggins and Sonny in front of us who haven't stopped yet, and like Tony, they decide, actually, do you know what, Nick, rather than battling, we'll just scarper into the pits. I mean, they probably were pitting anyway, probably nothing to do with me coming up behind them, but it made it very simple for me, and that put us up into P4. But Stefano in front of us, remember he was on the hards at the start, he's still on those hards, so when he's going to have to pit, and he did that at the end of lap 26, that would put us up into 3rd. Brilliant. But you remember all those people who we undercut by pitting before? Yeah, they're now right on our tail because we've not been super fast by overtaking all those cars, and they've got fresher tyres than us. So you can see that Miles is closing on us. He's got the DRS. He's going to go up the inside. He's gone for it. He's gone very, very deep. He's going to come back on the track. We're going to leave him some room on the left-hand side. I thought at one point he was maybe going to lose it and spear into us, kind of like how Hamilton and Rosberg crashed into each other in about 2015, 2016. But fortunately, nothing happened there. Hags got through, thought about a move into turn 4, didn't do anything there, and we managed to survive that particular attack. And in the end, we were able to pull a couple of seconds clear. I think once we broke the DRS back to them, it meant we were able to get away, and as they were battling with each other, they held each other up. So that helped us out. And in the end, it's scarcely believable, but in our debut race in a Haas, we managed to climb from 11th to 3rd and get ourselves a podium. And that is excellent. I was dead happy with that. And not only with that, I was driver of the day. What more could you ask for? Absolutely stunning, Nick. Stunning. So there you go. 3rd position on the grid. We're admittedly quite a way off of the top 2, but hey, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We still get the same amount of points for the championship, and we still get that podium. So that was really good, and I was really pleased with that. Especially pleased as well that I didn't get any penalties. It's very easy to get penalties around Austria, so to get none. I don't think I even got a warning, so that was really good. And we're now up into 5th in the championship, and we're only 28 points off the lead, which is more than a win's worth, but that's 4 podiums in a row. If we can keep that form up, then this could get interesting in the second half of the season. We'll have to wait and see whether that actually happens, though. So what did we learn today? Sometimes I think it's good to take a bit of a gamble. The gamble of us doing the undercut on lap 13, it was a little bit early, probably a couple of laps earlier than I'd want to pit, but I thought, let's go for it, let's be bold. Sometimes I've been a bit conservative with my pit strategies. This time I decided not to, and it really paid some dividends. So sometimes it's worth taking a risk. Anyway, that's the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, then don't forget to do the old liking and subscribing stuff. You know, it makes sense, massively helps out the channel, so it is much appreciated. If you want to catch up on social media type places, then Twitter and Instagram. You can find me there, Alfred Bulbasaur, and details in the description. Discord is where you can catch up between videos and races, again in the description. And if you want to watch these races live as they happen every Wednesday and Sunday, then you can do so over on Twitch. Details on the screen and in the old description. But until then, and until the next time, goodbye.